All right, everyone, welcome to Listen University. Yeah. I'm glad you're all out here tonight, and I'm really excited to be here with you as well. I'm excited for our speaker. He's incredible. And so the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, thanks for that reminder, Penny, I'm going to ask you guys to put your noisemakers on quiet. Take your cell phone, make sure it's on silent. Our speaker tonight is a gentleman I had the pleasure of meeting a few months back, and I've been pestering, I think, not quite hounding, but definitely pestering to have him come and speak to us. Because when I first met him, I recognized that he had a passion for personal development and growth, for improving himself and improving those around him. I was impressed with the library that he has on personal development in his office. And then meeting some of the guys that he works with, some of his real estate agents that work with him, and hearing about how he shares his Audible with them so that they can be constantly improving themselves as well. And that's probably why he was able to have so much growth in his industry. Went from no sales to over 10 million gross sales in just 24 months in real estate. And it takes an incredible work ethic and a drive to do something like that. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce our speaker tonight. So do me a favor, put your hands together, and let's give a nice warm welcome to Templeton Walker.
Hey. I appreciate it. What's up? Hi guys, how are you? I've got to meet a lot of you individually, and I appreciate you letting me come and speak, and hopefully I go to a lot of speeches and I listen to a lot of motivation. One of the biggest things I don't want tonight to be is 40 minutes of entertainment. I want to leave value that you can take action on, right? So I really want to make sure that that's something that we can do. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you guys are open to learning some new ideas, potentially ideas that you already know, because most of the time we know what to do, but we're just not doing it. So hopefully I can spur you to do that. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm from a small town. I'm from the Grand Canyon National Park. I was born and raised there. Who's been to the Grand Canyon here? Perfect. So all the hotels on the edge, there's a small community of about 1,500 people that support all that. And that's where I'm from. I got this unique, it's a small town. However, you have 7 million visitors, right? So you have that unique perspective. So I was always bagging groceries and like trying to talk to like foreign girls. I was like, what's up? But anyway, that's besides the point. But I got to grow up in this amazing place next to one of the 7 wonders of the world. And I really got to kind of be a big fish in a small pond. I was an athlete, and I got to play sports, and I was fortunate to, out of high school, get a basketball scholarship. So I went to go play college basketball at Yavapai, a junior college in Prescott. And by Christmas break of my freshman year, I found out I was going to have my first son. So we all know how that happens. Things, we don't got to dive into that. But I found out I was going to have a son, which wasn't the plan. So for me, I said, wow, I need to figure this out. So I finished my freshman year. I gave up my basketball scholarship. I moved down here to the valley to try to make it work with my son's mom. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but she's actually one of my best friends now. We share my son half and half, and we've created a really good life around that. But I didn't get to finish school. So for me, I had to figure out, all right, because in my mind's eye, I always knew that I would go to high school, basketball would pay for college, I'd go to college for 4 years, paid for, and I'd be done. Well, now I threw this giant monkey wrench in there, right? And I still had this thirst to learn though, but I needed to go make money, I needed to work. So I felt like, all right, if I'm not gonna go to college, what I need to do, and really I found this, let me backtrack a little bit. From about 19, when I first had my son, I had all this potential, but I couldn't find my footing. I really couldn't find my thing. And I bounced from job to job, and I got into sales, and I found some success. I sold women's shoes at Nordstrom, so I know way more about women's shoes than most straight dudes do. If you want a peep toe, a sling back, a pump, I got you. So I sold women's shoes at Nordstrom, and I found some jobs that kind of fulfilled me, and I made okay money, but I hadn't found that thing that was really going to like allow me to make my mark on this life. So at 25, I was so tired of being the idea guy. I always had ideas, right? Do you guys ever have a great idea and you're like, that's the thing, but then like we don't do anything? I was that guy for 6 years. So at 25, that's when I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what, Templeton, you are going to take action. I don't care what it is, but you're going to take action. So I got licensed in real estate, and I said, this is going to be my thing. And the first time I made a real estate commission, I realized I was like, oh, I really like this, because you make more than when you sell a shoe. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. Yeah, right, a little bit. So I just took massive action. But in that time, for me to, what I've found in every stage of my life, for me to develop into my next level of financial success, spiritual success, family success, I've had to become the best version of myself and level up, right? And for me to do that, and where I'm circling back with all this, was I didn't finish school. So what I decided to do was like, you know what, if I'm going to be on a treadmill or in my car, or if I have any chance, I'm going to have a book in my ears, I'm going to have a podcast playing, something that is going to help me level up and put positivity into my brain that I can then take action on. So that was huge for me. So at 25, I'm now a realtor. I'm finding a little bit of success, but I don't know what I'm doing, like at all. Like my first 10 clients, bless their heart. Like I was just like, that's a great question. I don't know. Let me find out. I said that like all the time. Jared, Austin. That's pretty much how it works, right? And I didn't have a team leader to call and say, hey, what the heck am I doing? So at 25, now I've turned my car into the University of Templeton. And this is when I started to develop the 5 layers that I teach on. And this is, I think that anyone that is looking to find success in their life, they have to go through these 5 layers, whether they know it or not. And the first layer is your thoughts. You guys, our thoughts, 100%, are the most powerful thing that we have. Because if you look for the negative, I promise you'll find it. If you look for the positive, I promise it's there. You just got to decide. So our thoughts are 100% the most powerful thing that we have. And before we can talk about a business plan, a financial plan, if we don't have our thoughts in order, we're just never going to get there. Does that make sense? How many of you guys work on or are conscious about your thoughts every day? Yeah? So for me, and I love that, that's why you guys are in this room. It says a lot that you guys are even here thinking this way and working on development, because a lot of people, you guys, they have absolutely no conscious thought about their thoughts. They're just going through the motions. So when I started to take ownership over my thoughts, I read a book called As a Man Thinketh. Has anyone ever read that? Perfect. It's like a little 40-pager, but it changed my life. I was like, oh my goodness, my thoughts are so powerful. What I think about will become about. So that was first and foremost. That's the first layer for me. Anything that we're going to be successful at, you guys, we have to know in our heart that that is what it's going to be. And our mind is this garden, and we have to cut away the weeds. Because how easy is it for us to call, this is what I call the drift. You know, when we're all, and I'm ADHD, so I'll bounce around a bit, so I'll circle back, I promise. But when, you know, like on January 1 and we're on our fitness plan, and March 1, we have a little bit different energy about that fitness plan. Does that happen to anyone? That's because we drifted, right? And what happened was we allowed little weeds and little negativity come into the inspiration and the motivation we had around that goal. So we have to look at our mind like a garden and say, you know what? I am going to stay so focused on being positive, weeding out the negative, and not allowing that in my world. So for me, thoughts are first and foremost the most important thing for me to lay a foundation on. The next thing that I have, level 2, I guess you would call it, would be your clarity or your vision. So I don't care if you're running 100 miles per hour and you're working your butt off, but if you're running the wrong direction, you're not getting to where you want to go. So for me, I would challenge each of you to really get clear on what you actually want. There's a great story from, I don't know where it's from, but I'll give you a Cliff Notes version. But there's a guy, he's a master fisherman. And he goes out, he catches some fish, he comes home, he feeds his family, he takes a nap, he spends time with his wife and kids, and then he does it again the next day. And then this businessman comes and goes, "You're the greatest fisherman I've ever seen. You need to do this at a mass scale." And the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, what does that look like?" And the businessman goes, "Well, if you catch enough fish, you could hire some people, you'll make money, you'll scale this business, and if you do it long enough, you'll be able to relax, catch some fish, take a nap, hang out with your wife and kids," right? Because you've created all this freedom. So I say that to say, be very clear on where you want to go. Does that make sense? I know that now I didn't say it perfectly, but you guys get the gist of it. So with that, be very clear on where you want to go. So what I've learned in my life is I don't need to be the wealthiest man. Like, I'm very fortunate to earn at a high level, but I don't need to make 100 grand a month. I'd rather be the guy that makes 20 grand a month passively. I want homes, apartments, residual, mailbox money, because I want to hang out with my wife and kids. I want to be in shape. I want to travel. I want to be able to give back to my community. And I want to be able to not only give back to my community with financials, but with my time and my energy. So what you see is a lot of high performers, high achievers, high earners. They have no time for anything else. And that's just not going to be my life. So I had to get clear, because I used to think, I'm going to be the biggest realtor. I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to do these things. And I really found it was kind of incongruent with my vision. So level 2, you guys, get clear on whatever that is. And I want you guys to really be thoughtful about that and say, all right, if I were to manifest a perfect life, what would my day look like? What would my bank account look like? I mean, it would be nice if it had a gajillion dollars in there. But realistically, to be happy, what would that look like? And what would I need to do to get it? And then reverse engineer a plan to get there. And we'll talk deeper into that. So, but level 2, you guys, I don't care how hard you work, if you don't have clarity around it, if you don't have a vision for what is actually going to make you happy, you're going to end up pleasing other people and keeping up with the Joneses. And you're going to end up in this cycle of earning, and you'll have things, but you may not have happiness. So, thoughts, clarity, and then that allows you to do the 3 key things that I think bring success. Can I get some water? Oh, thank you. So the 3 key things that I think bring success are standards, discipline, and consistency. So let me talk about those. Standards to me, I just want to really hammer home this point. Our thoughts are number 1. We have to believe in what we are thinking about. We have to believe. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick drink. So our thoughts are number 1. I just really want to hammer this point. What you think about, I promise you that is what you will get. Like, non-negotiable. What you think about, you will get. That's number 1. 2, be very clear on where you're headed. And then once you have that vision set, these 3 things will get you where you want to go, and that's your standards, your discipline, and your consistency. So your standards are your non-negotiables in your life. And for me, my standards are so important to me that they're unwavering. If you come into my world and you don't fit into that circle, or if your standards differ from mine, I'm sorry, but you can't be in my world. Have you guys ever had to cut anyone out because their standards were maybe different from yours? And I've had to do that with family, with friends. And here's the thing, you never have to cut people out in a negative way, but I believe as I level up, it's my job to teach them the opportunity that they have, but they have to want to come with me. And if they don't, that's their choice. But I'm not going to play at a lower level because they're choosing to stay there. So my standards, you guys, this is a really simple analogy, but it's an important one. And this is how important your standards need to be. So imagine if, just to use a simple analogy, imagine if going to the gym was as important and such a standard that you held to the same level that, who here has kids? Perfect, most of us. Would you ever leave your kids waiting at the school line, wondering where you are, and you'd forget them? Not going to happen. My wife and I will never forget our kids. Hope, knock on wood. Right? But it's just not going to happen, right? It's non-negotiable because that's a standard in our life. Like, that is such a standard that it will never waver. Imagine if prospecting on the phone or going to the gym was held to that same standard. It's the same decision. It's just held at a different standard and priority. Does that make sense? So for me, I had to get really clear on what standards I was willing to hold in my life. And when I changed my standards, my life changed because I was expecting more from myself and I wasn't allowing myself out of my promises. Because when you promise, Essentially, we will not break promises to other people. If I tell someone, hey, I'll be there at 10 a.m. and I'm going to show you that house, or I'm going to go over that contract with you, I'm going to be there at 10 a.m. and I'm going to do that because there's another person relying on me. But we as humans, what we do is we make promises to ourselves. You know what? I'm going to eat better today. I'm going to make my prospecting calls. I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. And then when we don't, there's no punishment. We just break the promise to ourselves over and over and over again. So if you have, what we would call that is integrity. I have integrity with other people that I'm not going to do that to them. But I don't have integrity to myself. I'm going to allow myself out of these promises with myself. So those standards, you guys, are so important. And what you really need to do is connect them to your why. And your why, for me, is my wife, my kids, the lifestyle I want to leave. And I hope to God, when I pass away someday, people don't go, hey, that guy made a lot of money. I hope they go, I heard him speak, I met him, his energy, like that guy changed my life. Like I was better for knowing him. That's the legacy I want to leave. If they said he sold a lot of homes and made a lot of money, I did something wrong, right? So my standards need to be tied to my why. So really understand what that is. Now, when I understand what my standards are going to be, I need to become disciplined to those standards. And for me, I'm like the least disciplined guy. But what I learned is if you show me your habits, I'll show you your life. And I'm not a very disciplined guy by nature. I'm loosey-goosey dancing, like you guys see me. Like I'm a top realtor, but I look like a goofball. So I had to understand, I need to create habits to take the guesswork out of this and get out of my own way. I had to get out of my own way, so I had to develop great habits. So for me, that was waking up early, getting the gym done. Because if I don't get the gym done early, my kids wake up, agents start to reach out and have questions, my day's gone. And by the end, I'm fried, I'm definitely not gonna go. So the gym is a standard of mine, but I need to be disciplined to that standard and understand how to foolproof it from myself. Because if I leave it up to me without a habit, I'm definitely not going. You get what I'm saying? So I have to be disciplined enough to get up at 5 and go get it done. So that's what discipline is. Discipline is the little habits and cues you put in place that hold you to your standards. So for me, my disciplines in business and how you guys, Templeton Group at this point, I started as a solo agent 5 years ago. Now I have about, we'll say 20 realtors, give or take, that work for Templeton Group. And I run another company. It's an off-market business where I buy and sell homes for cash and disposition them and make money in that way. And if I didn't have these standards and disciplines in my life, I could have never, like the guy 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that guy couldn't do what I do now because my habits were a mess and my disciplines were a mess. So as I've progressed to who I am, it's allowed me to attract and become what I'm capable of. But until I leveled up, like these other things weren't gonna happen. Does that make sense? So we have our thoughts, we gotta get clear on our vision, and then we have our standards, which are the keystones, our promises to ourselves. And then our disciplines are gonna be our habits and our cues and our protections in place in our life that hold us to our standards. And then consistency, you guys, is that last layer. I don't care what it is. If you don't do it consistently, it will not compound and show a positive effect. For me, it's like trying to get a tan in a day. You're gonna get a burn. Like 20 hours in the sun, like, red. If you go 10 minutes a day, that compounding effect creates the result that you want, that beautiful gold bronze tan, right? I know for me, every July, I'm walking around super tan. But you guys, if it's your fitness, or if it's your business, or if it's your pipeline, your sales pipeline, whatever it is, you can't build it in a day. So you have to become consistent in saying, you know what? 2 hours every day or 1 hour every day, whatever that is going to be a non-negotiable. It's going to be a standard. I'm going to be disciplined to it, and I'm going to stay consistent with it. And that compounding, so compounding is always operating. When you're compounding, you're always starting at a zero base. And if I work out today, I'm headed to the right direction. If I work out tomorrow, right direction. Work out the next day, I'm compounding on it, right? I'm getting momentum. I'm creating this just swell in my life that is headed the correct direction. I miss a day, shoot, I come back to center, right? Every time I eat a carne asada burrito, which I love, left, right? 2 days in a row, left. And I'm not saying don't treat yourself, but I'm just saying these little decisions in our life compound and end up forming our life. Like this is what we become, what our decisions are. And for me, I've just become very conscious about what my compound effect is going to be. Are my decisions going to compound in the right direction, or are my decisions going to compound in the wrong direction? Because they're always operating. Like there's no turning it off. And I'm human. I make mistakes. I make errors. This is one big thing I want to touch on tonight is how often do we forgive ourselves when we slip up? Like, in school, they taught me like plate tectonics and like inertia and weird stuff. But they didn't tell me how to say, you know what, Temp, you're special. You're a good guy. You're working really hard. You should be proud of yourself. They didn't teach me how to like love myself. And this is part of the thoughts. All day, we will all nitpick ourselves and say, you know what, you could have done that better. Can't believe you ate those chili cheese fries. Can't believe you missed the gym. Whatever it is, we will be in our own heads all day beating ourselves up. But how often do we say, you know what, Temp, good job. You did a really good job today. I can't believe you showed up and you handled that client really well and you made those phone calls that you really didn't want to make, but you made them. How often do we give ourselves that self-positive talk? You know, that is so important that I hope that if you guys could take one thing away from today is start to realize the little wins in your life and give yourself that positive self-talk because you are doing great. Give yourself, so where I'm headed with that is the compound effect, right? You're gonna slip up. If the compound effect is gonna start back to zero, that is okay. We are human. And go ahead and say, you know what? It's all right. I don't need to wait till next Monday to start again. I made a mistake today. I'm gonna start tomorrow. And I'm gonna forgive myself for the action that I took that was not in alignment with my standards, my discipline, and my consistency. So with that, grab another sip. With that, I just hope that's one thing that you guys really start to think about is how you think about yourself is often how you're going to think the world perceives you and values you. Does that make sense? So if you're always beating yourself up in your own mind, how much value do you think you're carrying in your energy that you think other people are going to pull from you? It's going to be low. Like all of us are just energy. We're these vibrations. And have you guys ever met the guy or the gal who is just, their energy's here, their vibration is here, and you're like, I don't know you, I don't know what you're doing, but like, I just want to be around you. I just want to be around you. And we've probably all met the person whose energy is like barely operating. Me now, I identify those energies and I'll go, can I help you bring that up? If not, you got to go. And if I find someone here, I go, I don't know what you do, but I want to learn. I want to be next to you. I want that to rub off on me so I can constantly raise my vibration. Not to get too weird on like energy vibration sort of stuff, but that's true. Like we all have it. You can call it what you want, but that's what it is. So be very mindful of your energy. Here's 3 things you guys can always control. And again, I told you I'm ADHD, so we'll bounce around. 3 things you guys can always control. I don't care in real estate if it's an up market, a down market. Shout out some professions. What are you guys in? What is it? Network marketing? Oh, we're all in the same hustle then. Like, we got to sell. And I don't care if you're having a great month or if you're having a bad month. There's 3 things I can control in any market, which is my attitude, my energy, and my effort. No one can take that from me. I'm always employable. I can always go get another deal because I have massive control over my attitude, my energy, and my effort. There's no scenario that someone could say, you know, Temp, I have an upper hand because I had a better leads list, or, you know, I had a better zip code to work. Well, you definitely didn't have better attitude, energy, or effort than me. That I can control and no one can take it away from me. So when you find peace in that and you're like, hey, this is on me, and take ownership over that, sky's the limit. So guys, a goofball like me will sell $85 million worth of real estate this year. I'll probably flip and wholesale another 150 homes on this business, make near $1 million bucks. And I'm gonna tell you guys this story. 5 years ago, I was selling women's shoes at Nordstrom, okay? And if a lady was, you get a lot of really rich ladies, and they just like would look down on you like my little Nordstrom boy, run and get my shoe. And I'd be like, they'd be so mean to me. I'd be like, no problem, I'm gonna get it. Size 7, come right out. So, this is a story to tell you how far I've progressed. 5 years ago, so I'd be like, yeah, size 7, coming right up. I'd go back there, I'd get her shoebox, I'd fart in it, I'd trap it, and then I'd bring it out. And I'd be like, size 7, it's right here. I called it a hot box. So, you guys, I was hot boxing shoes 5 years ago. Like, literally. And now I'm here speaking. So you guys want to talk about the power of thoughts. Like, this is big. This is big. So so please be nice to your shoe guy. You never know. This leather's a little funky. So, but I just wanted to show you, like, my thoughts back then were based around that. And now, they've changed. My thoughts have changed, right? And my earning has changed, and my problems have changed. Here's one really big takeaway, and we're going to bounce. That's okay. We all have problems. If you are really struggling on income and money, that is a stressful situation, and it's a problem. If I'm negotiating a really big deal that's going to pay me a lot of money, that's a problem, and it's going to be stressful. Both of us have stress. Both of us have an issue and a problem we need to solve. So if you want to level up, go find bigger problems. Take bigger risk, right? Because I promise you, a problem this big and a problem this big take the same energy and effort to solve. But bigger problems come with bigger paychecks, and bigger paychecks come with bigger lifestyles. Bigger lifestyles come with more freedom. So I work just as hard selling those shoes as I do selling homes. I just had to get clear on my vision and what am I selling and why am I doing it? And is it fulfilling me? And when I make this income, then what do I do with it? How do I fulfill a life and a legacy full of philanthropy, giving back, providing, doing the things that I enjoy? So we're going to keep going for a bit, but I really want to open up some question and answer sort of stuff. But a couple things that I really want you guys to take away from tonight is, why not you? So getting into real estate at 25, and I'd already tried like so much stuff that people were like getting tired of me. I tried a lot of stuff. And people would be like, oh, Temp's going to be a realtor. That's going to work out real well. Good luck, Temp. I didn't even hear the noise. I don't know why on this endeavor, I didn't even hear it. And in such a competitive space, you guys, real estate's a really tough space. You could throw a rock and you'll hit 17 realtors. So it's a tough space, but I didn't there's always room. Here's a great quote. People say there's no room in that space. Well, there's always room for the best. There's always room for the best. Just because others are doing something does not mean you can't step in, do it in your own way, and create value. So why not you? You guys are how many are in network marketing here? Everyone, mostly? Why not you? In network marketing, you hear so many success stories, right, where people are just crushing it. And you'll say, what's their secret sauce? I'll tell you right now, they don't have a secret sauce. They control their attitude, their energy, their effort, and they decided that they're going to be successful. They decided that they're going to put in the work. They decided that they're going to get clear on whatever their vision is, reverse engineer that, and do what they got to do. And be very granular about your goals. So on my team, you guys, if you're on my team, after team splits and everything, you should net about $4,800 per deal. That's the income that an agent on my team should make after I get paid, the broker gets paid, all that sort of stuff. On an average size deal, you should net $4,800. So if you want to make $200,000 on my team, I know you need to do 41 deals. And if you want to take 2 months vacation, so let's give you 2 months vacation, and we run this on a 10-month sales cycle, you need to do 4.1 deals a month. Do you guys see how we're reverse engineering that? So now it's not saying, gosh, I'd love to make 200 grand, wonder how the heck I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna go, all right, let's see what that looks like. This is our year. You want this much vacation time because you wanna go to this place, this place, this place. That gives us a 10-month sales cycle. We know our average spread or average pay to you is gonna be $4,800 per deal. Well, now we need to do 4.1 deals a month. So if I hold 8 open houses, that should lead to 1 contract. If I make 1,000 dials, that should lead to 1 contract. If I knock X amount of doors, that should lead to 1 contract. So now we know these general metrics, and now let's reverse engineer those to a month, to a week, to a day. And now I have a distinct plan to get me to that 200. So if you guys have a network marketing goal, a sales goal, whatever it is you do, please figure out what the end goal is and reverse engineer it. Make sense? And more so than just reverse engineering it, decide what action you could hold as a standard, a discipline, and stay consistent at, and actually do. Because it's one thing if you go, I'm going to make 8 hours of calls every day. And if you've never made an hour of calls, you're not making 8 hours. Like, let's just be real. Like, if you would have done it, you would have done it. So if you're not an 8-hour-a-day call person, figure out what actions can actually lead to a proper end result. Make sense? So I tell you that about my team and the agents. I got some of my agents here. Love you guys. But it's that clear. And real estate is a tough business. And you look at something and you go, how the heck am I going to make that much money? But now we actually have a plan. And when you have a plan, a lot of times when people are nervous or scared or they feel like they don't know what to say, it's because they're unprepared. So when you have a plan, now it starts to bring some peace into your life and you go, oh, this is manageable. I just took this massive thing and I made it bite-sized. And I'll eat a little bit today, and I'll eat a little bit tomorrow, and I'll eat a little bit the next day. And by the end of the week, wow, I have some real effort in a package here. Next week, then next month, right? And that's how you eat an elephant. You just work through it. But you gotta have a plan, and then it will give you peace of mind, understanding that you're working towards something deliberately and not just shooting in the dark. So with any sales, I really want to talk about being yourself, how important that is. When you're on stage talking about farting in shoe boxes. So when I was younger, I was super wild. I'm like covered in more $40 tattoos than I care to admit. And that was my journey, right? And I've come to a really great place. But I understood, okay, I'm not going to be the realtor for the $60 million businessman who wants me to be like, yes, sir, let's do this. I'm not that guy, right? And I also understood I didn't want to work with, let's just call it like an investor who just wants me to like write 20 million offers every day for him. So I had to get clear on who I wanted to work with. And I understood that was working class families that wanted to buy homes between $200,000 and $450,000 that didn't need me to look or be anything other than what I am. They wanted me to be highly knowledgeable. They wanted me to treat them like family, and they wanted to know that I cared and I had their back. So I had to get clear, okay, I don't need to impress these guys over here. I don't need to come here in a 3-piece suit and pretend to be something I'm not. And I didn't need to be over here with the investors and kind of be their workhorse. I knew I didn't want to be that. So I found my lane. And what I found was there's 4 million homes in Phoenix. And when you look at that, you go, how am I ever going to make a dent in that market? But what I really figured out is that I can figure out 200 to 300 people a year that know me, like me, trust me, and they're going to accept me for me, that I could figure out how they're going to love working with me and I would love working with them. So instead of 4 million homes, I need to figure out 200 to 300. And if I do that, I'm going to hit every financial goal I've ever imagined. And you know what? I get to not have to cover up my $40 tattoos. I get to wear a State 48 hat, which is one of my best friend's brands. I get to be myself and live and sell in a world of authenticity. I really believe we're headed towards a world, you guys, where the slick salesman who knows all the verbiage to kind of get around things, that's kind of going away. I'm not saying don't know what to say. The language of sales is always going to be important. But I think if you're authentic and you're vulnerable, people are going to shop with you. They're going to really already, people who follow my social media, my Instagram or my Facebook, they hire me because they feel like they already know me. And because I haven't hid anything. And the beautiful part about it, you guys, is when they call me, I don't need to be anything other than what I already am because I already showed it. If there was something about me that turned them off, it's already been, like, they already decided I'm not the guy. So if they come to me, I can be in 100% peace in my authenticity to say, gosh, I'd love to help you, right? And there's been times I've sold $500,000 homes, you guys, where I'm with the client, I'm like, hey, I'm swimming with the kids. Can I come in swim trunks? And they're like, yeah. And I'll go sell a house in soaking wet swim trunks because that is the relationship I created with the client. Does that make sense? Can you see how much more enjoyable that would be in a process? Because I'll tell you, if there's one thing that's exhausting, it is being something you're not. When I first got into real estate, I thought I had to be the business professional who had his, the 50 to 60-year-old gentleman who was really put together and starched shirt, and this guy was on point. And I was trying to do it, and I'm like, I don't even know how to tie a tie. This is terrible. And I played the part, and I will still play the part when I need to. I'm not saying I won't recognize a situation. If I have a very high-end client or something, we're going to a nice dinner, I put a suit on. I do what I have. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that. But when I was trying to be that all the time, I was exhausted. It wasn't me. So then I said, you know what? I'm only going to work with people who can identify with me, can appreciate my knowledge, my work ethic, and my authenticity. And they're going to know how much I care about their transaction. My world changed. My world changed. Another thought that I have for you guys is know your value. So often in the beginning, I was so hungry for them to need me, right? Like, it was a scarcity versus abundant mindset. And it's really hard to have an abundant mindset when the chips are low. I totally get that. You guys, I've been broker than broke. So for me to request you to have an abundant mindset when things are tight, I get it. This is still real life. You got bills, you got real life things that need to happen. But when you are operating from a place of just bringing value, so when you give and expect something back, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's not giving, it's called trading. You are giving to receive something, that's called trading. So when I just started to give 100%, no strings attached, I'm just gonna bring value to these people, my world started to change. And where I'm headed with this, with know your value, is when people treated me bad, because I don't know if you guys have ever felt this, but people kind of look down on salespeople, realtors, shoebox guys. Like, they just didn't treat, for whatever reason, they kind of feel like they can just, there's not everybody, there's certain people that felt like they could abuse that relationship. And the moment I said, no, you're lucky to have me. You're not going to have someone with my knowledge, energy, effort, heart, care. And if you want to use me, we're going to be peers. And you're going to value me as much as I value you. And if we can't do that, I'm not the guy for you. So when I was finding my avatar, my perfect sales, my avatar is my ideal client, I really put that into the avatar. They need to love me and appreciate me and respect me. So I would challenge you guys, whoever your potential avatar is, make sure they appreciate you, they love you, they see the value in you. How many here have felt undervalued in a sales process? Have you guys ever felt that? It's the worst. I'm like, why are you being so mean? It's terrible. So when you guys are dreaming up this dream client, please always know your worth and know your value. And it's hard sometimes to be in an abundant mindset and to tell somebody, I'm not going to play that game when you really need that check. But when you do that, there's so much peace, and the right people will gravitate towards you. They really, really will. So we're at 42 minutes. I want to open up some questions. You guys, so I coach in business. I help a lot of people scale. So, to go from zero sales to, 300 transactions, all the revenue that we do, I've had to put some really tight systems and processes in place. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's understanding what I'm not good at, which is pretty much everything, and doubling down on what I'm really good at, which is making friends, negotiating deals, and connecting with folks. If it's not that, I shouldn't be doing it. Like, you guys do not want to see me write a real estate contract. But you know what I do? I pay Jenna a nice salary, and she is perfect at it. Make sense? So I want to talk about scaling business, creating revenue, and then also financials in your life. If you guys have any questions around that, that's something I'm passionate about. Do you guys have any questions for me about anything business, personal finance, spirituality, anything like that? Jay?
So I got a question. So in my pursuit of becoming better and elevating myself and my business and all that, one of the things I found a lot is there's a ton of different like productivity type planners and journals out there. First thing on all the good ones that I've seen, first thing in there that they want you to do every morning is to list the things you're grateful for. Can you hit a little bit on that, how important it is to make gratitude be a part of our day and what kind of difference we can see when we do that?
100%. So on our team, we use something called the Win by Noon Journal, created by Todd Bookspan, and has three lines. It's my top 3 things to do, and then it's the 3 things I'm grateful for. And typically mine are similar. They're my family, they're my faith, and typically it says my team. And sometimes it will vary. You know, I'll put something small in there, like I'm just so thankful that I woke up today and my body feels good and I was able to get a good workout in. Or, you know, when you really get grateful, you guys, gratitude it's this nucleus that these amazing feelings and emotions and actions can be built on. And when you're in a state of gratitude, it's impossible. It's physically impossible to feel negative. Like, you can't feel hate, you can't feel envy, you can't feel jealousy if you're in a moment of gratitude. So, Jay, to your point, every morning, understanding what I'm grateful for puts so many things into perspective. Guys, I got a big scar right here. They thought I might have cancer when I was 19. And this was at the same time I was going to have Kingston, my son, right? So I'm 18 at this time. Might have cancer, baby on the way. And I remember praying. I don't know if you're religious or not religious. I remember praying. I was like, God, if you take away whatever this is in my neck, I will be the best dad. Like, I choose dad, which I was scared about, over cancer any day. And now when I look at my son, day after day, I mean, he could do something so simple. And I grab so much gratitude from that moment. Just a smirk, a smile, a giggle is anything that it is. And I remember, because I tie it to like potentially something very bad. And I'm like, wow, what if I went back to that moment and the results were different? So I'm just so grateful that like I'm here. I'm so grateful that, you know, my son this morning on my Instagram stories, you'll see a 3-year-old on my leg saying, Dad, don't go. And I'm dragging him on my wood floor. You know, something as small as that really keeps me centered in what's important. Because at the end of the day, it also allows me, Jay, to understand that like these things that I think are so important, they don't matter. That deal right now, like my kids are healthy, my wife's waiting for me at home. Hopefully she cooked dinner. No, I'm kidding. But I'm just so grateful, right? So that gratitude, if you do it on a day, gratitude is a lot like hygiene. If you don't become grateful every day, by the end of the month, you lose it. And if you don't take a shower every day, by the end of the month, you're going to stink. So make sure gratitude becomes a discipline in your life that you're consistent about. And that rolls back to what we talked about, standards, discipline, consistency. That gratitude, you guys, it will keep you centered. It will keep those negative thoughts out of your mind. It will keep those weeds away. Good question, Jay. Any other questions that you guys have on your mind? It's totally okay if you don't, but yes.
So I work in corporate America, and
Yes.
I'm just curious how you might suggest coping with or dealing with like a coworker who brings in the negativity all day, every day.
That low vibration.
Yeah, like I try to keep the energy good, good attitude. But that's contagious if somebody's just trying to drag you down.
It is.
Any thoughts on how to deal with that?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would call it out and I would acknowledge it in a respectful way. And I would say, hey, Bill, can I chat with you? And be very sincere and say, I would give him you call it a negative sandwich. Say a positive, give them the negative, and then give them a positive. I say, Bill, we've worked together for a long time, and I figure out some things he does well. I appreciate the fact that you do this and this and this. I really do. However, I've really been struggling when you do these things. Then tell him the things that are bothering you and say, I wanted to talk to you about this because I do value our friendship, I do value our work relationship, and I would like for it to keep improving and thriving and growing. Like, that's the energy I want to be on. Do you think that we could start doing that? If you come to anybody with that conversation, I don't know who doesn't respond with something like, at least where they're willing to work in the right direction. And if they get super defensive, you handled it, like, you can take peace in knowing, all right, I tried to do this the right way. That's all you can do. And if they just completely push back on that and just become more negative, you got to cut it off. And then only interact with them in the moments you need to and make nothing more of it. And also consider the source. A lot of times, in real estate, it's a very competitive market. People say different things, and who knows, right? What the kids would call it, the haters. Consider the source, right? Like, so when someone is saying something about me that is negative, I try to understand who they are, does that impact me, and does it matter? 99.9% of the time, it doesn't. And then I can have peace. I'm like, okay, what does their opinion affect me? So does that make sense how you'd handle that conversation? I think that would go over. That is one huge thing, you guys. A lot of people are doing stuff that bugs you like crazy, and they don't know that they're doing it. So they might appreciate, if you come at them in the right way, respectfully, they're going to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was, chomping my Cheetos like all day. How's your day? Maybe they don't know. So unless you call it out, you get what you allow yourself to get. So if you're suffering every day in a situation, you're allowing it. And until you call it out and say, I will not accept this, please fix it for me because it's important to me, then you're making your own bed. You get what you think you deserve. You get what you allow yourself to get. So I would call it out, and I would do it in a super respectful way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question.
So when you were talking about what you were 5 years ago and now, and you talked about you needed to build those habits, a lot of times you hear it as success habits. Did you have a difficult time in developing those habits and then putting them in place and keeping them?
Yeah.
And if you did, how did you overcome that?
Remember how I spoke about forgiving myself? When I would fall off track, which I still do today, I didn't let it tear the whole progress apart. So many people fall off track and then they go, well, I can't do this, I suck, that was a good attempt, but I'm done. What I really got good at was saying, what I missed today, but I'm not gonna miss tomorrow, right? And my compounding effect is gonna keep working this direction, and I'm not gonna just let this slip away, because I'm gonna stay connected to my standards, my discipline, my consistency, my why. So those habits are a daily struggle for me. Not all of them. Now some of them are just ingrained in me, and they're a part of my life, and they're the way I wanna live. But as they were growing and building, I just had to be okay with when I wasn't perfect. I forgave myself, but I didn't give myself a moment to dwell on it. I said, I'm gonna fix it now. The moment I acknowledged that I fell off track, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait till Monday or the end of the month or after this trip. I'm gonna fix it now. And when you just take action, Mel Robbins has this great rule, the 5-second rule. When I have sometimes in real estate you have to make tough phone calls. A contract falls out and someone's expecting a big check and they're moving and things outside of our control can happen. And I have to make those phone calls and they are the worst. They're the worst phone calls. And it's always the first thing I do in the morning. I pull out my phone, I hit send, and I'm like, oh God, don't even know what I'm gonna say. But I just get on the phone and I just do it. So those habits, I kind of had to do that 5-second rule. And then I had to have disciplines to wake up. You guys, I'm a night owl. I could never wake up early, at all. So what I would do is I would set 3 alarms in the living room, and then I would give myself notes on the way, don't be a bee. You gotta do this, wake up, don't go back to bed. And I'd have to go shut off 3 alarms, and now I'm awake, and I'd have cold water and a note. like saying like, like just crazy. Like I had to set these like booby traps for my own like self-harm. I was like, so I'd like read these messages like, last night's temp is different from this morning's temp. I'm tired. But by the time I got through all my booby traps, I'd be like, all right, let's go to the gym. And when I took the discipline to really like stay focused, my poor wife has had to see my goals on my bathroom mirror for years now, right? Because I look at them. I open my desk drawer, my goals. Like, I'm very intentional on like where I'm headed and what I'm gonna get. I need to be reminded of daily. So for those habits, I would make them so important and such a standard in your life that you check the time. Oh, it's written on my hand that I need to do whatever. You know what I mean? Make sense? Like you have to go over the top. Be corny with, like, I was so crazy about real estate, you guys, like I was annoying. But I guarantee you the people that I annoyed back then would switch spots with me, at least in a business sense, probably now. The same people who were like, what is this guy doing? Make sense? So you're gonna have naysayers along the way. Put them out, stay focused on you. I say affirmations. My poor wife has to listen to me in the shower. You are incredible, you are good looking, you are funny, you are great. And she'll be like, shut up. But like I say those things, or I visualize. So have you guys ever read The Miracle Morning? So the Savers is pretty much what I did. And those affirmations and visualization, I was in this Hyundai Sonata, which was a great car. And we'll circle back on this, but that, I should have never sold it, it was paid off. But I would dream about a 750 Li, that was my dream car, BMW 750 Li. And I would visualize like what the leather felt like, what it would smell like. The people with the lights were looking at me like, what's up, baby? I'm in the 750. Zoom. And I got it. Here's the funny part of the story. 2 weeks into having a 750, you kind of realize like, this changed my life none, besides I have a $1,000 payment now. But that visualization, I really think took me there. And visualizing, affirming in my mind, and that positive self-talk and training my thoughts, visualizing, writing, all those things just become part of you. So that's what I would do.
I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So in your transition period from hot box and shoes to real estate mogul, you said you turned your car into a university on wheels.
I did.
What was was there like a key audio or book or something that was the most impactful in your journey? And if so, what was it, and what was your big takeaway?
Right, great question. So I think similar to a lot of entrepreneurs and people in our space, Rich Dad, Poor Dad had a massive effect on me. It was the first domino to fall that kind of led me down this path. And I started thinking differently about money, and I started believing that like I'm worth more than, I always thought, you guys, like if I work 20, 30 years, maybe I could make 100 grand. Like, oh, that'd be awesome. Like I didn't even know like people made like silly amounts of money. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad opened me up to that. And then from there, like our brain, you guys, is the exact same as our body. And if you put great things in your body, you feel good, you look good, you perform well. Well, our brain is the exact same. So for years, I'd only been listening to like, I love hip hop, so I'd be like listening to hip hop, zoning out. And like I was feeding my brain like junk food. And the moment I started feeding it like leafy greens, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it started taking a hold. And I started to get super intentional to be like, all right, after Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what's next? I read Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I read As a Man Thinketh. I read The Power of Habit, right? Like, so what I decided was like, this is gonna be my daily diet of leafy greens for my brain. And I can't say there's so many books that have had an impact on me, but I would say it's my consistent effort to constantly stay true to those books. And I don't care what the positive book is, I need it coming into my brain, which fits perfectly into what you guys do here, right? Because what you listen to, you become. What you surround yourself with, you become. So I had to get super intentional. I'm telling you, that's probably the biggest thing that's changed my life. But that's part of my 5 layers, right? Is the discipline to turn on an audiobook instead of John Jay and Rich. No, they're funny, I like them. But to put on an audiobook and to do it every time I get in the car. Like there's no negotiation. Like I'm going to, like sometimes before an appointment, I'll put like a song on with like bass. I'm like, let's go, we're gonna close the deal. Like I get a little fired up, but I would say 99% of the time, I am disciplined enough to put that book on because I understand that, like, even if I'm zoned out thinking about something else, those positive messages are like just soaking in. And now my brain is like, this garden is well kept. Yeah, that's been big for me. One of the biggest books that's had an impact on me, you guys, is Goodbye Things. It's by a Japanese author, and it talks about minimalism. And after I read this book, I got rid of like 70% of my clothes. I sold this giant house I had bought. I sold that 750 Li I had. And what it's allowed me to do is really start investing higher because I didn't need to prove to anyone anymore that rather than trying to look rich, I'm trying to become wealthy, right? And rather than trying to impress people with my things, I'd rather impress them with my heart and the moments we get to spend together. So that was a great book that I would recommend for you guys. Goodbye Things. That's the answer to your question. Goodbye Things is the best book. That book changed my life. Perfect. That's it. I mean, dude, well, no, okay, yeah, that works. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Do I go this time?
And I'm just so glad because I knew he was going to be phenomenal. And then, you know, like sometimes like you're like, well, how well do I really know this guy? I met him one time. He had a lot of good books. Like, what if he's terrible? You know, and he wasn't, and I'm so glad he wasn't. You know, no. Thank you so much, Templeton. That was phenomenal, and just exactly what we hoped it would be. For those of you that are new here, every week we like to do a little drawing. You know, we're all about added value, right? So you haven't heard us pitch Listen University once, except for the fact that Listen University sponsors this meeting every week. In that added value mentality, we like to have a little drawing every week, and we like to give something away. And normally there's a lot of flair and pomp and cheering and people standing up and sitting down. And so for those of you that are new here, I apologize because you're not going to get that tonight. I'm just gonna pick out a ticket. Now the gift here, what we're giving away tonight, it's not a raffle. No one's buying tickets, right? This is a giveaway. But what we're giving away is a 30-minute coaching session with Templeton. Right? Yeah. So he's talking about scaling your business and setting goals, and he's going to sit down and give you a personalized approach to whatever it is that you're trying to do. Right? And so that's a big deal. And so we're just I've got all these tickets here in my hand, and hopefully I'm going to draw your ticket. And we're just going to find out. And so, Kevin, how do you usually do this? You just mix them up in a cup or something, or I'm just in your pocket. And I'm just going to put the ticket. This is my ticket. I got it right here. Oh, okay. I'll put it in my pocket, and then I'll. Is this better? Is this good? Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. If you got the number, just be excited. No, not everyone has to cheer, right? Because Kevin likes everyone to be winners. But let's be honest. Except for one of you, a bunch of losers in here. Okay? All right. And the winning number is 285. 425. Who's got that number?
Yeah.
Again? We've been doing this for like 5 months. This is like the 5th time you've won.
I would verify it.
Yeah, let's check this. I don't know if I trust him.
Pastor, take it up front, lay the banner, verify there.
All right, there it is. He did. He won. So thank you guys so much for coming. Have a great night. Thank you, Templeton. We so appreciate you.
Hi, we hope you enjoyed that. That's one of our speakers. We do this every Thursday night, free, on campus at our offices or live here on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed it. We really love bringing you speakers with a passion about a diverse topic. That's what we're all about at Listen University, is helping you in personal development and education in ways that you didn't expect to, and on topics you would never have thought you could have an interest in. Join us here at Listen University. Find out a little bit more about us. There's actually an income opportunity with us as well. Glad to have you here. Thank you. Hi, my name's Kevin Allen, and I'm happy to introduce you to a brand new network marketing opportunity. The name of the company is Listen University, and we bring you personal development and education in a different way than anybody has ever done before. Our target is diverse education. You know, there's a lot of things you can get online free today. There's a lot of TED Talks, there's a lot of trainings, there's a lot of recordings that have been stolen from speakers, frankly, as they spoke to groups that have been downloaded and put up on the internet. There's all kinds of great training out there, but there's some diverse education that you won't get anywhere but here at Listen University. This came into my mind as I recently went back and got my master's degree from Thunderbird School of Global Management, and it changed my life. This is an education that I wasn't expecting. When I went in, I looked for the elective classes. That's what I was looking for, and of course I would have chosen guitar and music classes, some Spanish classes, because these are things I already do. That's what we choose, isn't it, when we go for an education? The things we are interested in and the things we already do. Well, I got to tell you, I'm not sure we learn very much when we take those classes. Classes I would have never signed up for in my master's program are the classes that changed my life the most. And that gave me this idea for diverse education that we take to the world, education pieces that you will never hear anywhere else. My first thought was, imagine if every month you received 10 hours of education and training. Imagine if that first volume that came to you, by the way, our products look like an encyclopedia. You open them up and there's a thumb drive in there with 10 hours of education on it. We also give you a digital download. But imagine if that first lesson was 10 hours of world history for the beginner or the novice or the stay-at-home dad or mom. And imagine if that first lesson was, what's up with Jerusalem and Israel and the Gaza Strip? What's this 200-year war I've heard about? Who knows about that? Who could carry on a conversation about that topic? And who would choose to learn about it? Another interesting question. I would never have enrolled for that class. But now imagine 55 minutes of education taught to you by a real credentialed individual, someone with a couple of doctorate degrees, maybe from Harvard and Yale. Of course, they'd have the last name Patel, probably, because those are brilliant people coming from India today. And imagine for the next 55 minutes, you learn about Israel, Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip. What's up in that part of the country? I promise you, your life would change forever. Just to understand something that other people don't understand. The way you watch the news at night, the way you listen to the news on the radio, the way you talk to friends. It's all going to change. That type of diverse education is what we've targeted in Listen University. Imagine learning something you didn't expect to learn, and imagine how that would change your life. Now, my wife Robin and I have been in network marketing for a long, long time, 35 years. We've been in corporate leadership in most of those companies, and they're mostly all successful still today, and they remain very successful in leading people to that additional income that network marketing is all about, really, and has allowed a lot of people to change their lives. When we started this company, our last company, I just broke into my 60s. I don't want to do this again. So this is our legacy opportunity. When we thought about products, we have access to every product in the world. We know the manufacturers. We could have any product out there, including a bunch of products we hear about as network marketing professionals, corporate people. We hear about products that, in theory, could change your life. And we could pick any of those. But the problem with that is, imagine that you found the great, perfect antioxidant drink and you got on it and you felt better than ever before. Or the perfect skin product and you used it and your skin was better and younger and fresher than ever before. Or imagine you found the perfect product that would give you the vitamins and nutrition and really gave you comfort to know you were going to live a longer and healthier life. Imagine those things. The problem is if you stop taking that juice or you stop using that cream, within 2 or 3 weeks, you're back to who you were before you took it. These are just symptoms that products treat, and they can enhance your life, no doubt about it. The difference with education is you can't unlearn something that you learned. You can't forget about it because our brain is a computer. Now you've expanded who you are, and that will never change. Now you can say I'm pretty passionate about this because in this company, Listen University, I believe we will change lives, and I believe they will stay changed. Many people will make a lot of money with us because we're a network marketing company with a great compensation structure that will allow you, by sharing education and personal development, a super product. And by sharing that, you can make a lot of money. Whether you need a few extra $100 to change your life, or you want several thousand extra dollars a month to change your life and leave the life you're living now, Listen University can offer that to you. Plus, it's brand new. I'm recording this on November 2nd, 2018. So take that date, add to it whatever days you're watching this, and just know that our company is in a soft launch situation. We'll open our website for the first time this coming Monday. Are you early? You're way before early. Join us, get involved with us. If you ever thought about being involved in a young company where there's additional trials, no doubt about it, but come and build something with us, with a product that changes lives, with a product that everybody will enjoy as their lives change. Imagine our get-togethers. Imagine when we get together and listen to great speakers and really have that influence and culture that people want to belong to. I know you're going to love Listen University. Take a look at it, listenuniversity.com, and come and join us. I look forward to having you as part of this great company that's going to become one of the companies to watch in the years to come in network marketing. Thanks for joining me.